Racing Matters podcast with Ron Robinson and Sean Travaglia.
Afternoon, sir. Welcome to another edition of Racing Matters. I'm going to get that in every time we do this now, because racing does matter, doesn't it?
Well, it matters to you, it matters to me, and you'd like to hope it matters to anyone who's listening to this as well. Otherwise, why are they listening?
Well, what are they doing here? Yeah.
Exactly.
Actually, do you know the numbers are going up, by the way? We've got about 130 followers now. Thank you very much indeed.
Yes, thank you for listening. Pass it on to your friends.
Yeah, tell a mate. Yeah.
Better still, pass it on to your enemies if you don't like us. I don't care. We don't care. Let's get another. We're going all Derby mad this week.
Derby day, yeah.
We got French Derby. We got what happened in past Derbies. What can you do to make the Derby better, and who's going to win this year's Derby? There you go. Yeah. That's the entire podcast out the way in about 10 seconds flat. No, it's not quite that simple. We started off with, and this is from a personal annoyance, is why I put this in, I suppose, if I'm being honest with you. The French Derby last week, the Prix du Jockey Club.
Yeah.
That's as good as my French ever gets. What did you make of Constitution River winning that? And I'll follow that up with why I'm angry about it, but you can go first.
Yeah, well, I actually thought he'd win the Epsom Derby. I still think he'd won the Epsom Derby. I'm thinking now that the way the lads at Coolmore are thinking is, well, we're going to win the Epsom Derby anyway, so we might as well send a good one over to France, because he'll be worth more in the breeding sheds than anything that wins the Derby will be. I mean, I'll be covering that in one of the races we discuss in a minute. Now, yeah, as I say, I always go on about what Lester Piggott said many moons ago, and I'll do it again now because there were 3 lengths covering the first 7 home in the French Derby, and Lester came ringing in my head and he says to me, do you know what? I remember I was interviewed once and the guy asked me, what did you make of your winner then? After he'd won in a photo finish, about 3 others up their backsides, and he just turned around and said, well, they can't all be good, can they? Which basically meant the thing he'd been winning on was not really up to that much. To be honest with you, so far, I've not seen a middle distance 3-year-old colt that I've gone, wow, what's that? Have you?
Not since Frankel, probably.
I know, exactly, yeah.
I don't disagree. I think you have to remember French racing is run very differently to ours.
It is, yeah.
I would agree with what who am I to argue with the great Lester Piggott?
Lester, yeah.
But it's run very differently, stop-start, and usually it's a sprint finish. So I wouldn't say that you can necessarily apply that sort of 3 length for the first 7 rule to French racing as you would do at Epsom, perhaps. I mean, at Epsom, I would almost certainly agree with you. This time next week, we might be saying the same thing. Who knows?
We might be.
I think it was a Ryan Moore masterclass. He was drawn 15 and 16.
Yeah.
He had absolutely no chance of winning from there, which shows what everybody knows because he won from there. Most people thought that Ryan was going to bring him across to the rail and basically pray that a gap would arise that he could go up, but he didn't. He let him race wide for a couple of furlongs on his own.
I think he just knew exactly what he had underneath him,
I think you have to add to that, and I've written down that. We also ought to congratulate the yard because they had the first, second and third.
I know, yeah.
That takes some doing in a classic wherever it is, and don't poo-poo the French form by any stretch of the imagination because there's some of the best horses in France these days. The Alcacan studs are producing some ridiculously good horses in the last few years. Mm-hmm. Witness the Arc winner, etc. Yeah, he stayed on strongly over a mile and a quarter there, so I think we'll see him in better light over a mile and a half. Personally, what did he win by? He won by less than a length. Well, I reckon you can add 3 lengths to that.
Oh, probably can, yeah.
For where he came from, possibly more. Digital experts, the data experts will probably be able to dig in it somewhere and find that he covered an extra blah, blah, blah metres more than anybody else because of how he raced. I don't bother looking into that much depth, to be honest with you. But I would certainly say you could add another 3 lengths onto that. And if that's the case, he was a much easier winner than the official margin suggests. Love to know where he's going to go next because if Aidan O'Brien wins, and he's got 4 runners, I believe, if Aidan O'Brien wins the Epsom Derby tomorrow, because we're recording this on Friday, who's going to go for the Irish? He's not going to send both of them, is he? I wouldn't imagine he's going to send 2.
So. Maybe something else.
Why not? But how many stallions can you have? This is the question mark as well. How much space is there for stallions? I mean, you can look at 3-year-olds, a classic winning 3-year-old. There's only a maximum of what Colts, 2,000 guineas, Derby. I suppose you can add the Irish Derby, the French Derby in. Yeah. But those horses then retire to stud and potentially are there for 15, 20 years. You can't keep, there just isn't the space for all these top class stallions to keep filling up the sheds. It just isn't the space there.
No, there's not.
Go out last year's Derby winner to put in this year's Derby winner. Which does that make any sense to anyone? Don't know.
I think whatever wins the Epsom Derby tomorrow will get stuffed sideways by Constitution River.
I think it's a possibility. I mean, that was when you've stolen my thunder yet again. He does it every week. That was my only annoyance with him winning the French Derby. I was exactly the same as you. I would have backed him for the English Derby,
Yeah,
without a shadow of a doubt.
yeah.
Do wonder whether they feel he's better with a bit of cut in the ground. My instant thought on any horse, which is a real sweeping statement, is if you send it to France, then you're looking for a horse that likes a bit of cut in the
Right,
ground. Because
forget the towing.
yeah, 9 times out of 10, that's what you're going to get. So you wonder whether they think he likes to get his toe in, and maybe the others don't. But we'll have to wait. Well, they're going to get their toe in tomorrow at Epsom.
Well, that was going to be one of the things I was going to say when we're discussing the race later. What's the ground going to be like?
Who knows? I mean, it's I'm looking out the window now. I'm in Sussex, not Surrey, so I'm nearby, but not a million miles away. We're dry today. There's forecast, I think another 6 millimetres was forecast.
Something like that, yeah.
It's good to soft in places today, allegedly. We'll see what the race times come up with at the end of the day.
Well, like you said in midweek, it does dry out quickly at Epsom.
It's on chalk, is my understanding. That's what I was always told. I've never checked it. I've never dug it up with a shovel.
No.
I might get arrested if I tried that. I've always been told it's on the downs and it's on chalk, so therefore it drains really quickly. That's how I've been brought up. I have no evidence to back that up.
Yeah.
But it should be good. Now, we moved on to something slightly different now. And I sort of conned Ron a little bit here. We discussed this before we came on air, and I said, talk about 2 Derby horses, or words to that effect. Now, I didn't word it for him the way as I worded it for me, because I suspected we'd come up with the same horses, and we haven't, but we both understand each other now. So 2 horses from the Derby, from last year, yesteryear, back whenever you want to go back to, Ron. You can have one, then I'll have my one, then you can go back for one, and I'll come
That's
back.
fair.
Let's go for it.
Seabird, 1965, right? I was, 7 or 8 years of age. I'm sitting on the living room floor by my dad. Were you really? Good grief.
Yeah.
You won't remember this then.
No.
It was a black and white telly, 5 College View Bootle, that was where I lived at the time. No, I was about 8 it would have been 8. I'm sitting on the floor. I could do that back then, I couldn't do it now. I'd need block and tackle to get up again. And I remember watching that horse come flying past the rest of the field, and I was thinking, what was that? And when I cannot remember whether they showed replays then or whether I saw it on the news in the evening, because there used to be a news item back then.
Yeah.
But if you've never seen Seabird winning the 1965 Derby, give your eyes a feast. It was a stunning run. Absolutely. But I was watching it back again on YouTube. I think it was YouTube I was watching before we came on. And I also watched the other race I'll be discussing in a minute to see whether my mind was playing tricks on me or what, But no, Seabird. If anybody was to say to me, what's the best Derby winner you've ever seen, I would say Seabird.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I have to be 100% always. Of course, I've heard of Seabird. Anyone racing for Seabird. Have I seen it? Probably. Do I remember it? No, quite honestly.
I could. When I watched the video back, I could still remember it exactly like I was watching it then. It was unbelievable. Go on, when you get a chance, everybody, go and have a look. It was brilliant.
I'm certainly going to. That's for sure. Now, I didn't go with Derby winners, that's the bit where I conned Ron. I went with Derby losers.
Hey.
And as soon as I said that, Ron went, I know which horse you're going to say. And
I did.
And he's not wrong. First one for me is Dancing Brave. Now, again, these are all on YouTube. If you don't know who they are or you haven't seen it, please look it up. There's nothing wrong with a bit of reminiscing.
There's not.
And they were decent races back in those days. Now, he won the Craven Stakes, he won the 2,000 Guineas, he won the Coral Eclipse, he won the King George, and he won the Arc. Look up his Arc as well when you get a chance, because he's not even in the picture with half a furlong to go, and he still wins it. And that is, in many people's opinions, possibly the best Arc field that's ever been assembled.
Yeah.
That he beat. But in the Derby, I didn't know Guy Harwood well, but I knew Guy Harwood. I lived not a million miles away from Pulborough. Greville Starkey rode the horse in that particular race. He took a lot of stick at the time.
He did.
Sat out the back, came with a rattling late run, and quite frankly, just didn't get there. At the end of the day, did he? Simple as that. My understanding is, Guy Harwood defended him to the hilt. My understanding at that time, and still remains the same, is that he was following instructions. That was what he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
There was a question mark. It's easy after he's won a couple of mile-and-a-half races to go, well, obviously he stays a mile and a half, but at that time, he was a 2,000 Guineas winner. They weren't convinced he would stay. So the answer was to switch him off, leave him out the back, and give him every chance to get in the mile and a half. And as it was, he left it a fraction too late. I believe, if memory serves, when he comes round Tatton Corner, he gets blocked slightly or doesn't quite quicken up as fast as they wanted to, and that may be what cost him the race. Edwy took over in the saddle, not because of that, but because Greville was injured. That's why Pat took over, I think 2 races later, to be fair. Edwy took over in the saddle, won on him, and Greville never got Never got back on him again. I can tell you a story that I haven't bothered writing down actually because I've forgotten about this. I was chatting to a certain ex-jockey. I'm not going to name him. This is a few years back. I told him, tell me your best story from racing. And he said when he was a youngster, he went down to Guy Harwood's to ride work looking for a job. And he rode work on Dancing Brave, got off the horse, and the Guy Harwood said to him, what do you think of that one? Then he went, reckon we might win a race with him. And Guy apparently went ballistic because he already knew just how good he was going to be. Or roughly, he knew he was going to be a very good horse. And this particular jockey, who I won't name, was like, yeah, you might win a race, and maybe a seller or something. That sort of attitude. Not quite the truth. So Dancing Brave is my first horse. I'm going to save my second one and let Ron go with his second one next, and then I'll come back to you.
Well, I'm going with exactly the same race you've just discussed. My next would be Sharastani in 86.
Oh, really?
I always try and get a good thing beaten. I mean, I remember back in Stalbridge Colonist to beat Arkle. I mean, chuffed a bit when it actually happened. And then you find out later on that Arkle had actually run the race injured. So your thunder's been well and truly stolen type of thing, you know. But yeah, Dancing Brave was a good thing for the Derby that year. And I'll be honest with you, I was strutting around like a peacock after I'd worked out they'd be riding Dancing Brave as a possible non-stayer. He wasn't actually their Derby horse. I can't remember what the name of their Derby horse was now. But he got injured in the December before the flat season after, so it never ran in it. He ran Dancing Brave instead. He was by a mile the best horse in the race. And as we were just saying, Starkey got pelters for the ride he gave it. Now, I was looking back for comments about the ride back then and all the rest of it and what other people thought. And I came across a Timeform article that had actually been written a lot more recently. And that what they'd done is, you know, now we've got sectional timing and they can see what a horse should have done and would have done and could have done. And what they did was they estimated that had Starkey got his fractions right, he'd have won the race by 2.5 lengths by using these sectional timings, as opposed to getting beaten the half a length. He did get beaten by... I do remember Swinburne saying at the time, and this is why I went with Sharastani, was that he was looking to get first run on Dancing Brave, and he got it spot on because he knew Sharastani would stay every yard of the 1.5 miles. It's not always the best horse in a race that wins the race, though. The jockey with the best clock in his head, that's just as important. And I reckon Swinburne had the clock, Starkey had the horse.
Interesting. I'm going to defend Greville because he was friendly.
Yeah.
Bless him. And he did what he was told. I don't think there was anything wrong with his clock. I think the thing that was the difficulty was if you've got a race like that, if this race was run, tomorrow's race was run with 2,000 guineas winner going there, anything with stamina, he's going to sit and try to exploit that.
Oh, it is, yeah.
We're going to go hell for leather. We're going to make sure that Dancing Brave can't get home. And that created him having to come too wide around the field and possibly a little bit too late. It made it difficult for him. It happened. It's one of those things.
And if they were his instructions, that's what he's got to ride to.
My second horse also got beaten. It's just one of those. It's the story of my life, isn't it, really? Yes. Anyway, I think it was 1984. Oh, that makes me feel old when you think, it wasn't that long ago, was it? And then you do the maths and go, oh, yeah, it was. Vincent O'Brien trained a horse called El Gran Senor, a son of the legendary, the one legendary sire, I suppose, Galeo's the nearest since, Northern Dancer, who was Canadian. And of interest, he won the Irish Derby next time out. He went into the English Derby. I believe he was a red hot favourite. I'd be surprised if he wasn't, if he won the 2,000. Watch the replay of that one, ladies and gentlemen. I would still back him to win in the replay now, 40 odd years later.
You would, wouldn't you?
You watch that replay, all right, you know the result, so it's a stupid thing for me to say. You watch that replay and tell me he's not going to win that race. He comes, as they're coming up the home straight, Edry on board again, he's absolutely cantering. He's swinging. He's all over everything else. I mean, he's not even got out of first gear.
Yeah.
And everything else, the whips are drawn and they're riding hard. And Pat's just sat there like one of these cartoon or like comedy sketches. Afternoon, yeah, I'm fine. How are you? Almost like it's just a matter of let out an inch of rain and go. Got beaten by his son-in-law's horse, wasn't it? Secreto,
yeah.
By the narrowest of margins, and he went past me, quickened up again. Not many horses quicken up twice. Elbrenson will quicken up again. Went on to win the Irish Derby. One of my favourite horses, even though I still cry into my coffee or whatever it may be, or more likely cider. How he lost that, I will never know. Again, please go to Facebook and watch it.
Yeah, these are great races, aren't they? Great races.
What's nice about it is it reminds me why we do this, really. I'm not a multi-millionaire out of it, and Ron, I don't suppose you are either. I mean, sometimes we've got to look at, like, I've got to put this in because it's annoyed me. Sunday's racing, the day after tomorrow. Sunday, what have we got? We've got Perth, all the way up there in Scotland. Nothing wrong with that. Before anyone has a go at me, nothing wrong with that. And then where's the only other meeting? Well, that's right, Goodwood. All the way down in Sussex. So if you live in the Midlands, how are you going to go racing on a Sunday?
You've got no chance. You've got nothing to do.
Who comes up with these ideas? I don't know.
Well, who comes up with the fact you've got 8 race meetings on a Friday, 8 on a Saturday, and just the 1 on the Sunday?
I know, it doesn't make a lot of sense. We discussed this last week. I always viewed that Sunday is a day when most people to this day still work Monday to Friday.
They do?
Saturday they, I don't know, go shopping, go to the garden centre, maybe they go out to the cinema in the evening or a restaurant, whatever it is they want to get up to. Sunday, it's not the day of rest it was in yesteryear, but it's still a relatively quiet day. No football at the moment either, so racing's got a chance to attract more crowds before the World Cup starts. Where do I go racing? Nowhere within 500, 400 miles or whatever it may be.
You're not going to do it, not with the price of petrol and diesel now.
That's an argument for another day, I suppose, but I had to stick it in there. I'm sticking to the Derby. You watch the replays. One thing I noticed when you watch those replays, turn your volume up. Cock an ear, if you're allowed to say that these days without getting banned.
I think, yeah.
And listen to the crowds, and listen to how big the crowds are. And then look at this week's one tomorrow and go, it's going to be busy. Of course it's busy, it's the Derby, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere near as busy as it was in the old days. You've got to look at it and go, why is that and how do we rescue it? Any ideas?
Well, I think it's horse racing now is not the flavour it was back then. It's got too many detractors. It's got a hard core of support. There's me, there's you, there's our members, but how many go now just because it's a day out rather than to watch the racing? We were going to discuss a meeting last week if we'd have done a podcast, Fossil, and all the social media advertising regarding Foss was nothing at all to do with the horse racing. It was about a DJ and getting bladdered, getting yourself absolutely neutered. I sent you a message.
Quite like that idea.
If there's no racing, and I sent you a message, why aren't they talking about the racing? And you sent one back. That was going to be a podcast item. And I'm thinking, I've got to mention it this week in some way or another. And you gave me the chance. I mean, if that's the only way racecourses can survive now, then so be it. But the likes of us, the hardcore supporters now, I stand a million miles away from that. And I suppose it's much like going to Epsom. It's much like going to Chester. All you see there now are posers. People who have gone dressed up to the nines to be seen, not to watch anything. It's them that need to be watched. And I've always felt that way about Chester anyway, going back years. It's more a posers meeting than a race meeting. But the Derby's going the same way. Are you seeing much advertising for the Derby?
There's been a bit, and they've got this new Ibiza party thing going on in the grandstand.
Yeah, Ibiza the party, yeah.
France last week before, moved a couple of Group 1s to a Thursday evening meeting, and they had people still dancing and drinking till 1 o'clock in the morning after racing finished it. Now, following on pretty much covering what you just said, to be honest with you. But the first thing to say is that racing used to be on the TV just as it is now. Funny, isn't it? But what didn't used to be on the TV was football and darts and snooker and golf and cricket, and everything else is on their own separate channels pretty much 24 hours a day. So racing hasn't never had a monopoly, but it had a decent percentage of the racing fans to watch it. It hasn't. I don't think it's got that anymore. Yes, you're quite right. You can add on the anti-gambling brigade, the anti-horse racing brigade.
Yeah.
What I'm concerned about, I don't have a problem with the idea of we're a business at Epsom, or pick and choose your own race course. Doesn't matter which one. We need to make money to survive. That's a fact of life. I don't have a problem with that. And if they want to do discos and parties after racing to get bums on seat, that's fine, because I can go watch the racing and leave after the last.
That's it. Yeah.
Not a problem. What I'm concerned about is what they're not doing is putting the product first, which is what you just said effectively.
Yeah.
I want those people to go to the races. They can get bladdered. I don't care, as long as they don't start fighting and stuff. Have a great time, have a party atmosphere, go back and tell their friends, and then go to a different race meeting in 3 weeks' time. Not, I went and got drunk at Epsom, might go back next year.
I'll go next year, yeah.
I had a great time at Epsom. The racing was great fun. I only found one winner, but it just about paid for my day, blah, blah, blah. Then we had a party. Then we got drunk with our friends. Can't wait to go back. We can't go to Epsom. Where's next thing? Oh, Glorious Goodwood. I wonder if we can get tickets for that. Sort of attitude. Get into the racing, not get into the racing and the drinking, not get into the drinking and then racing sort of disappears down the side somewhere. It's not relevant. They need to do things. This is a discussion every other month or whatever it is.
Yeah, it seems to be.
Look at the prices for Epsom. I had a quick look at this. £70 to get into the grandstand.
Really?
£145 to get into the Queen Elizabeth II stand. Don't get a drink for that in either. It's £125, you don't even get a drink. Cider was I drink cider, funnily enough, which is why I lose it. £7.50 for cider. Well, my local club's £4.20. I know you're going to turn around and say your pub is £6.57, £7.58, so it's not that bad. It is when you pay 70 or £145 to get in. I don't pay 70 quid to get into a pub that then charges me £8 a pint. I get in for nothing. People are having to watch their pennies these days. Whether they admit it in front of other people or in front of their friends, who knows? But the reality is we're all having to watch our pennies. I've never understood, personal gripe, why they contract out the bars. Why don't they run them themselves?
No idea.
You know how subcontracting works.
Oh,
making the numbers up as you do. You pay the person behind the bar £15 an hour and then you charge Epsom £20 an hour for each person that's there. Well, why don't Epsom just pay the £15 themselves and that £5 is their profit? Or they can either profit or they can cut the prices accordingly. Never understood it because their argument's always been, well, concerts do it, football clubs do it. Well, that's because they're sold out.
Yeah.
That's the difference, isn't it? You can't say that for
It's a big
Wolverhampton.
difference.
Wolverhampton on a Thursday evening, just, go away from Epsom, which I hope sells out, probably not. Wolverhampton on a Thursday evening, you can't get away with it. They do it at concerts. Yeah, but you've got one man and his dog here. If you want to get some people here, you've got to drop those prices. Can they see it? Can they echo like? Will I be going to
seems to be the case, does it? No?
No, I'm not going to the all-day Ibiza party. I don't mind that. And I thought, you need to get people interested in the racing who may well go on to visit another track and not turn up just once a year to get drunk. Now, I am not puritanical. You want to go get drunk with, you're not causing any trouble, I don't care. In fact, I'll probably join you there. I'll join you there. But you've got to get more people interested in the racing.
Yeah.
Rant over for today.
Over. Racing.
On to the racing. It's mainly Epsom. I think, did I sneak one in from somewhere else or not?
Yeah,
got
Musselburgh.
We've got one in from Musselburgh. I always go for listed and above. Going to start with the 1:30 at Epsom. You can start this one, Ron.
Thank you very much. Yeah, the Racing Post, by the way, will tell you there's been no previous runnings of this race.
No, really.
But it's the John O'Gaunt, and there's tons of back history. Their stats and figures and everything have gone bonkers since they updated the website. Don't be in. Anybody at the Racing Post listening, get a grip. Anyway, we've got 8 going to post. Nothing, though, seemingly arrives in tip-top form. None of the 8 arrives having won last time out, and only the complete outsider of the field, Balmacara, managed to even place in the first 3 last time out. Crazy. With 7 of the last 10 winners, though, sitting front 3 on the tissue, I'm going to be looking at Never So Brave, Alcantor and 10 Bob Tony for my winner. They're all age 5. Traditionally, I'd be looking for a 4 or 5-year-old trading front 3 on the tissue. The weights don't matter in races like these, only the handicaps. In the last 10 years, we've only had one winner trading bigger than 6-1, and that was Pogo in 2022. Came in at 17-2, so it's not a race for shocks. 10 Bob Tony won the race last season, but it was run at Haydock then. And this is cheese to Haydock's chalk. Epsom's a totally different track. Looking at the going and trip stats, I have got to go with Alcantor. 2 from 4 ground, 1 from 1 trip. The other 2 combined 0 from 4 on the ground. Now, Alcantor is 5-1 in places, so I'm going to take that. In fact, I've taken that. I've gone 20-80, and I'll pocket a profit if he finishes in the first 3. Alcantor for me.
And for anyone listening, Ron's now going to very briefly, because I don't want to fall asleep, very briefly explain to you what 2080 means.
Yeah, you go on the exchanges. Now, you're offered win odds and you're offered place odds, right? And what you do is you've got 100, say a 10 is your 100% stake. You'll put £2 on the win odds. You'll put £8 on the place odds. Trust me, it works a treat. This was, I've mentioned Aztec Gold many times. They're now out of business because they couldn't afford the databases required to keep up with what it was they were trying to do. Anyway, what they did was over 2 years, if I put a horse up as an om, they would back every single one of them 2080, irrespective of the price, because the way they looked at it was pennies make pounds. And over the course of 2 years, backing all of these horses 2080, in addition to using the ratings, they made a profit of 40,000 quid in 2 years without ever having to top up the bank. Now, I can teach anybody how to do that. The only thing you probably won't have is the time or the discipline to do it. Trust me, you need the most understanding wife on the planet to allow you to make a living trying to do at this game. It's 12 to 15 hours a day. She's watching box set after box set. She's just done Poirot to death.
Oh, I like that.
But no, it's a 2080. It's basically an each way bet, but you're having more on the place portion than you will have on the win bet. You try putting that bet on in a bookmakers, they'll kick you out. They won't take it. It would be a loser for them. So you can only play it on the exchanges. Just give it a double. If you play betting a tenner, £2 on the winner, £8 on the place.
And the fact that the bookmakers don't like it, that's a real positive in itself. If they don't like it, that means you've increased your chances.
Trust me, you go in and say, can I have £2 win and £8 place on this horse at 8-1? They'll say, no, thanks very much indeed.
Yeah.
So, don't want to know.
Well, he's explained that to you. I'm going to go back to the 130 at Epsom now.
Oh, yeah. We're talking about
I quite like Alcantor, I have to say. I think he had some decent form in France for Andre Fabre. He only had the one run for Joseph O'Brien. Handles the ground. Doesn't win often enough for my liking. That's
Do any of them? Well, I know.
Yeah.
I know that the favourite does, but I don't know.
It's the favourite for me. And I'm not. I looked at this. It's 9 runnings in the last 10 years. We've had 9 different trainers, 8 different jockeys, because William Buick's won it twice, but he's not even here.
No.
Aged from 4 to 7. Take a guess.
Yeah.
Expect a decent run from Poet Master. He's not as bad as he looked last time out. He could go well. Those who want a bigger price, 11-1 shot, Poet Master could go reasonably well. But Never So Brave is close to unopposable as far as I'm concerned. Finished 5th last time out to Opera Ballo at Sandown. That's not bad.
Good form.
He won the Group 1 City of York Stakes last season. He won the Summer Mile at Ascot, though I can't spell summer on the bit of paper that I'm reading it from. There you go. Not sure the softer going will play to his strengths, but he has won on it before, albeit in much lesser company. He was fitter for his 5th. He's a Group 1 winner. This is what are we talking about here? A Group 3 or what are we talking about? Group 3? I can't get my mouse.
I can't remember now, to be honest with you.
I've got my mouse to move, everybody. We can get there now. It's a Group 3. It's a Group 3. He's won a Group 1. Job done. If he handles the game,
he should win.
He should do. Do I want the 11-8? Yeah, I don't think that's actually a bad price. He was 5-4 yesterday, and he's slightly on the drift, which is the sort of thing Ron worries about sometimes. It's not much of a drift. They're probably just trying to buy some money from somewhere else. So yeah, I'm quite happy. Never So Brave, 130 Epsom, my pick for that particular race. And we move swiftly on, and we are literally swiftly on because we're going straight to the next race at Epsom, the 205.
Again, the weights have got no bearing on this. As I said, they only matter in handicaps. And again, the racing posts suggest this race has never been run before. It has. Once again, it's wise to work with the front 3 on the tissue. 8 of the last 10 winners would have qualified on that stat. 4-year-olds have won 7 of the last 9 runnings. And my only qualifier is She's Perfect. Now, last season, her owners turned down lumps and lumps of money for this after she ran second in the Group 1 Pouliche over in France. And they've so far lived to regret it. The fact is, she's the winner of just one race, and that was worth less than 6k to the winner. But you look at what she's done in placing in Group 1s and 2s and 3s and what have you, and she's added £137,000 worth in place prize money. That's stunning, isn't it? That's racing abroad for you, that. But she was beaten in a listed race on seasonal debut, and She's Perfect isn't. She's got to be my pick here, though, because the stats say she has to be. Not at all confident, I've got to say that. But I've got to go with She's Perfect.
She's a lovely filly. Nothing you said was incorrect, but she actually won the French 1,000 Guineas.
Yeah.
And was then very questionably disqualified. It was a bit of a dodgy disqualification, and there was a bit of an upset about it at the time. Again, she hasn't got the best winning record, and she's a decent horse. So, if you look at this way, 3-year-olds have won it before. They don't win it very often, I accept that, but they have won it before. It's not an impossibility for them to win this. Now, have a look at Pacific Mission. Andrew Baldwin, Colin Keane in the Juddmonte colours. Official ratings. I know everyone says, don't look at official ratings. Well, why do we bother even having them then? That's the question mark. Officially, she's rated £1 inferior to She's Perfect. Yeah, and how much weight does she get from She's Perfect? She gets £12.
That should be enough.
£1 inferior, and she gets £12. Now, I do accept what Ron just read out from the stats. 3-year-olds do not have the best of records here. But she's 11-2, which is good enough for each way. Quarter the odds, 11-8. I'll take a profit if she fits the first 3. She really, if official ratings she doesn't win, then you have to say to yourself, well, why do we bother with them? Because they'd have to be that inaccurate. If she can't win that £11 well in, something's wrong somewhere, barring an unlucky run, etc., etc. So Pacific Mission for me, 11-2 each way. Older winners here most of the time. She finished last year. She was second in the Group 2 Mayhill Stakes at Doncaster. Then she finished second to Ballantina in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies at Del Mar. That form is, as two-year-old form, that's as good as She's Perfect's three-year-old form, if that makes any sense.
Carry on.
Okay, so I'll stick with Pacific Mission each way at 11-2. Looks the value call in a receipt of her three-year-old filly's allowance.
Yeah.
And we would say move swiftly on if I didn't keep cutting out. That must be my internet. We move on to the 240. I'm not going to name names here because that's a harsh thing for me to do. But Ron and I are both use various databases and various software that comes up with various ratings. So I'm not pointing the finger at any one particular. One of them, would you believe in this race, has Calandigan clear bottom rated.
Bottom rated?
Yeah. Go explain that one.
That's a bit of a conundrum.
Who do we think's going to win this one, Ron? Now I've mentioned...
I'll probably say Calandigan. Now Barcelona's worked out how to ride the horse. They're unbeaten in their last 5 runs.
Yeah.
Now, they got mugged in this race last season. I think it was as much to do with the ground being on the easy side as anything else. Jan Bruegel won it last year, second favourite this year. Done half a length, Calandigan was. And that race taught his jockey a heck of a lot about Calandigan. And they, as I say, they've been now cleaning up in Group 1s around the world. The horse is a phenomenon. My constantly saying the Derby is not now much of a race, I think is borne out by the fact that last season's Derby winner, Lamborn, is going to be used as a pacemaker here for Jan Bruegel. Instead of that's instead of earning millions in the breeding sheds, as would have been the case years ago. You know, one of the front two on the tissue wins this, and only if the ground went slow would I desert Calandigan. I reckon he's absolutely unbeatable on good ground over middle distances. Yeah, it's got to be Calandigan for me. I can't see past him.
Yeah, I mean, he's won on soft ground.
Horse.
He's won on soft ground, if not heavy ground. He's French bred, so he's going to handle softer ground. Is he at his best on it? Possibly not. Won the Japan Cup in a course record time. Now, anyone who doesn't follow Japanese racing, the Japan Cup is the biggest race on their calendar. Yeah. Their best horses turn up for that year in, year out. And he broke the course record. So you don't do that if you're a slouch, basically. No. He's a very, very good horse. He then went off to Meydan and won there, so he's had a run this season. So we haven't got to sit there going, I wonder if he's fully tuned up. I think you're right. I think they've worked out how to ride him. I also think that he's been a bit of a baby, a bit of an immature. So, yeah. And I think the penny's finally dropped. He knows what's required of him. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's more mature now, and he's officially the top-rated horse in the world at the moment.
He is, yeah.
So evens for the top-rated horse in the world doesn't actually look that bad, although he was 7-4 earlier in the week. I wish I'd snaffled up some of that. But yeah, I'm surprised that Lambourne's as long as he is at 7-1. I don't think he's done that badly since he won the Derby. I suppose that Jan Bruegel's course form is why Ryan Moore's jumped for him. I would imagine.
Yeah. Mind you, Lambourne's got course form.
Yes, yeah, they both have, haven't they? So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Lambourne beats Jan Bruegel. I would not be surprised at all. But Calandigan, it's a good race. Let's get that quite clear. Basically,
it should be a cracker to watch. Yeah. I'll be looking forward to that.
It's a great race, and the beauty of it is there should be plenty of pace to it. I'm going to guess Illinois is going to take him along with Lambourne in close attention to make sure there's a good pace to the race. But then that won't hurt Calandigan at all. It will suit. If anything, I think it will suit him. You know, he's obviously not a slow sort if he can break a course record at Tokyo, so he won't mind a fast run race at all. But yeah, Calandigan for me, even money favourite, boring, but what else can you do? And we move on to the 3:15. I'll chuck a handicap in here just for Ron's benefit. It had my head exploding, so hopefully he's got the solution to it.
Well, it's the Dash. 20 runners giving it toes. And it'll be just running the play. I think the record time's about 53 seconds. Ridiculous. Horses aged 4, 5 and 6 have won 15 of the last 20 runnings of this and the last 7. But as 16 of the 20 qualify, I'll not read out a long list for horses for you at this particular moment. I'm thinking I should look at horses carrying less than 9 stone 1 pounds because the last 7 winners have. That puts me down to 6 qualifiers. Now you can have the 6. Star Chorus, Betson, Arklow Lad, Dionysos, Rhythm and Hooves, Almaty Star. Marker position next. I've got to rule out those trading front 4 on the tissue. In the last 10 years, we've seen winners returning SPs of 16-1, 11-1, 25-1, 12-1, 33-1, 25-1, 10-1 and 25-1. But 5 of those winners were trading in the front 8 on the tissue. So have I got any in that short list of 6 that are not in the front 4, but in the first 8? On the market as I can see it now. Only one. Arklow Lad, drawn 20 of 20. around 11 to 1 right now. I'll go 2080. You know what a 2080 is now. But I'll be honest with you, if this was any other day of the week, I'd look at that 20 runner field, I'd just turn the page and look for a race I can find the winner of. I'll put a Park Row Lad as a 2080, but confidence doesn't even come into it, I'm afraid.
Well, I think the thing is, I'm going to do the marketing this week. You go to postracing.com, www.postracing.com. I'm taking over the world.
.co.uk. Come on.
Oh, .co.uk, is it?
Yeah, I'm afraid, yeah. Couldn't afford it.com.
That's fair comment. That's where Ron's hard work on the normal, shall we call them normal handicaps, comes in. This 20 runner one that he won't touch, I can understand that. He has his rules, he has his provisos. And it's making people money hand over fist. So who am I to argue? Now, me, handicaps, I can't stand them. I've always made that quite clear to everybody and his dog. I find it difficult enough. If you've got 6 horses in a race, I find it difficult enough to work out which is the best horse without somebody else adding a bit of weight to one and taking a bit of weight off the other, just to make it more complicated. But luckily, Ron and I differ, which is why...
it works.
Some would say these podcasts work, some would say they don't, but whatever. I went through the stats like Ron did, repeating most. We said we have winners up to 50 to 1, 2 at 33 to 1. I went through a long list of things like 13 had raced, of the last 15 winners had raced in the last 60 days, 13 had raced at least twice this season, all of them had at least one success over this distance, etc., etc., etc. I come up with a short list of about 12.
Yeah. As you do.
Wasn't really a lot of use until I had a closer look and I realised of that 12, Robert Carroll is responsible for 4 of those. And Tony Carroll, that's Cowell and Carroll, Tony Carroll is responsible for 2.
Yeah.
Now, I can see why Kinswoman heads the market after a Yarmouth second, but she just doesn't fit the stats that I looked through, and presumably not yours either.
No.
The one that I liked in the end was Betson.
In the 6.
Tony Carroll trains, was left on my list. He's the only trainer of those horses left in my shortlist who's trained the winner before. Admittedly, 2014, he's trained the winner before. Arrives in winning form as a 5-year-old, having won at Chepstow last time out. I've been put up £4 for that to a rating of 86. But he's won off a rating of 95 before. So this is not asking him to do anything that he hasn't done and then some before today. Now, does that mean he'll be at his best? No. Does it mean he'll win? No. No, I wish it does. But 25 to 1. For the older people, worth having a shilling each way. For any younger listeners,
go for it.
Worth having 5p each way for the younger listeners. There you go. Betson fits the stats. 25 to 1, reasonable chance, winning form. That'll do for me. Funnily enough, not as a win bet, as an each way bet.
Well, no way, really.
Who could have?
The problem with races like this is that they run like that. They're over in a split second. And when you've got so many runners in the race, you're going to see about 6 or 7 horses where the jockeys have got double handful and absolutely nowhere to go. And the horses that are in the front don't come back. There's not too much to come back. So
it's downhill from start to finish.
It's like you're running downhill. They don't come back. They don't give you gaps. And if your luck's not in, your luck's definitely not in. You can be the winner on merit and finish 10th. It's that type of track. I hate the place.
You missed the beat when the stalls open like that, and you're a length or 2 behind.
Oh yeah.
There's no coming back. It's the fastest 5 furlongs in the world, which is why is the fun of it, I suppose. But we're busy making excuses. I'm not making excuses. I think mine's going to run well.
So do I. Right, I'm just going to go to the toilet. Next, the Muscle Brother 328.
Yeah, we're going heading north for the one listed race that's elsewhere other than Epsom, in case anyone thinks there's any bias involved. It's not, it's just where the listed and group races are.
Yeah.
So blame the race plans. Off the 325, a listed race, the Queen of Scots Stakes over 7 furlongs. Over to you, Ron.
Well, it's an 8-runner listed. Now, when I was doing my prep for this, I had no definite tissue. I've scouted around, I've got an idea. It's an assumption that the front 2 on the tissue at the moment will be Magic Basma and La Broeuse. It's important to know this for sure, though, before I actually have a bet, because I want to be with the horses that are sitting front 2 on the market. They've won 5 of the last 10 runnings and 3 of the last 4. Favourites, though, they've only won 2 of the last 10. And if I'm reading that right, and I think Magic Basma will be favourite, then I've got to be with La Broeuse. Whichever one wins, Kevin Ryan wins, because he trains them both. Now, I've got no form to go on. Not that much anyway. I've got to go with the stats that I've got. I've got no... Have you got a tissue?
No, just had a quick look.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Every other race seems to be priced up bar this one. I'll just go with La Broeuse and hope he's second favourite. Or she's second favourite.
Talking while I keep looking.
Yeah, well... Thanks. No, it is. It's one of those races, isn't it? Well, I didn't even know that Kevin Ryan was the trainer of both of them until I started digging. And I found him it's not a tissue. It's just basically priced up on the Sporting Life website. None of the bookmakers have got it priced up, but somebody at the Sporting Life has said, let's just put these two up as the front two on the market.
Yeah, they're guessing. There's nothing
Yeah,
around.
they've got to be guessing. Now, I still fancy Labradors, though.
Okay. Having quickly flustered from website to website and found there's no price of
You can tell this is done now, live-ish.
I've come up with Havana Pussy as my selection for this
All
one.
right, yeah.
Magic Basma's the highest rated according to the handicapper, but she's got 1 win from 12, which doesn't really inspire me. Havana Pussy won for the 5th time when successful at Yarmouth over this trip. She then finished 3rd in the Group 3 Chartwell Stakes at Lingfield. She was beaten less than 2 lengths after fluffing the start. Winding back to what we said about the 5-file, you can't afford to give lengths away. You can give weight away, you can't give lengths away. She dropped a listed class from a Group 3. If she gets away on level terms, she looks to have as good a chance as any here. If you're right with the other two heading the betting, as you hope, then she's going to be my each way selection here. Havana Pussy looks ridiculous. If that's 5 to 1 or bigger, bargain, absolute bargain. Can't see her out the first 3. And then we have to move on to the biggest and bestest and most important, whether we like to admit it or not, it's the most important race of the day. And that is the Epsom Derby. No, sorry, I'm going to get rebuked for saying that. The Derby from Epsom. Well, it is though, isn't it? Because the Kentucky Derby isn't the Derby. The French Derby isn't the Derby. The Irish Derby isn't the Derby. The Arkansas Derby isn't the Derby. But the Epsom Derby is the Derby. So it's the Derby from Epsom, 4 o'clock, tomorrow afternoon. Over to you.
Well, it's just like the Grand National now, isn't it? Or the Grand National is just like this. With the National... Yeah, no, with the National, you just draw up a short list of what runners Mullins has got. And here you do exactly the same with the runners that Aidan O'Brien's got. He's won 6 of the last 9 runnings of the race and the last 3. Tomorrow he saddles 4 of the 14 runners and he's got Benvenuto Cellini as the current favourite. Despite being officially rated £5 inferior to the Balding Runner item, this isn't a race I'll take a lot of time over, trust me. I've made it plain every year for the last 100. What I think about the race nowadays, refer back to my Lamborn comments above. I have to go with the glaringly obvious on stats. It's like saying, well, I know Mullins is going to win the National, but I'm going to back against it. All 8 of his, I'm going to back against them. And you know you're going to be just giving the bookmakers your money. I'm going with Benvenuto Cellini. If he wins, he makes it 4 on the bounce for O'Brien. He makes it 3 from the last 4 for Ryan Moore. And had Ryan Moore been around to ride Dancing Brave, I'd have backed a loser in Sharastani in 1986.
Well, I'm going to go in reverse order just to be the awkward sod that I am. So Aidan O'Brien has lost 3 of the last 9 reigns.
Yeah.
Because he only won 6 of them. So he's beatable. He's got 4 of the 14 fields. He's got 1/3 of the field is trained by him anyway, and that's invariably the case. He doesn't always win with the stable number 1, as we've seen with some of the bigger prices, Serpentine being the one that springs to mind. Does that mean he won't win this one? No, it doesn't. But I don't think it means he's bulletproof either. Now, Item arrives unbeaten and impressed winning the Dante as far as I'm concerned. I think that's a decent horse. The one I do not understand is on the prices here is that Pierre Bonnard, which is Sumion's ride for O'Brien, is 13 to 2.
I was looking at that.
James J. Braddock is 12 to 1. Now, James J. Braddock beat Pierre Bonnard last time out.
Yeah, I know.
Swooping with a late run over shorter and seems the far more likely to be better suited by the 1.5 miles. Now, you'll have read this everywhere, no doubt. He's part owned by Kevin Blake from ITV Racing, who's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind him winning for that reason. Why not? But I don't think he will. Fortunately, I come back to Benvenuto Cellini as well. I'm going to say there, he's got the Midas touch. Because if you look at who he was a goldsmith as well as an artist of other kinds. So I'm getting a bit of a plug in there. My main reason behind it is that Aidan O'Brien has made it quite clear that he sees Chester as the place to go trial his best horses for Epsom now. He doesn't see the Dante, he doesn't see the Lingfield Derby trial, etc., etc. He sees Chester as where he wants to test his best horses. And that's where he chose to send Benvenuto Cellini. So that says to me, he's better than we've actually seen so far. I wasn't overly impressed with him at Chester, I'll be honest about that. He looked very green to me and he wandered around a little bit. Might be inexperienced, might be first run of the season, so he could well improve that. He's also started, O'Brien has started comparing him to Galileo.
Really?
Yeah.
I've not read that. Yeah.
Yeah, as we've all said before, sorry, Aidan, because you're a lovely bloke. I do take what he says with a pinch of it. I think it may be just genuine enthusiasm for every single horse
I
that he
think it
owns.
does, yeah.
I think it's genuine enthusiasm. I've never heard a bad word about it from anyone who's ever worked for him.
No.
They all say it's fantastic. He's the first one in the yard. He's the last one out the yard, and he doesn't ask anyone to do anything that he wouldn't and couldn't do himself. He does everything.
He always comes across to me as apple pie.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's legitimate. I have questioned in the past whether
Yeah.
it's all part of the Coolmore marketing machine, and I'm beginning to think that perhaps I was wrong. Perhaps it's just he genuinely has enthusiasm. I think that my dog's telling me that this podcast should be up in a minute.
Yeah.
It's barking. Yeah, I'm going to go for Benvenuto Cellini because I think the form at Chester was probably the best form there. But O'Brien and Moore are the best combination in the race. And the fact that he chose to send this one here when we both think Constitution River could have won this standing on his head suggests he's the one to be on. So I'm going to finish there before the dog gets any louder.
It's just something for the weekend then.
Yes. You go first because I can't see what race time I've got on mine.
Well, I'm going for Alcantor. I don't really fancy any of the other ones I've mentioned strongly enough to say that's the one I fancy out of the races that we've discussed. I mean, I like Arklow Ladders an each way bet, but I wouldn't put it up as something. Calandigan's obvious. You don't need me to tell you about Calandigan. I'm unsure about She's Perfect, although the stats say she wins. I'm not so sure. Yeah, I'm going to go with Alcantor. That'll do me.
Okay, well, I'm going to be really, really awkward and hope for another 3-year-old buck in the trend. Pacific Mission each way in the 205 at Epsom. 11 to 2, £12 in hand or £11 in hand on the favourite. She might get beat by the favourite, boo-hoo if she does, but she should still place. And if that's the case, that'll be for me. I've made a small profit, which is better than making a loss. But I actually think she can win. Pacific Mission, 205 Epsom for me.
Well, the best of British, mate.
We're all going to need it this weekend. I think we've had a good laugh. Bit of Derby reminiscing, bit of what we can do to put it right, and then we've had a guess who we think's going to win some of the races. But anything else to wrap up with?
Only that we've just had a hot pot win at Epsom. Seagulls 11 was an on that was up in flames that went out in the newsletter to members. 6 to 1, 4 to 1, into 3 to 1 in the second newsletter. It's bolted in by, I don't know how far it's won by, but it's gone in at 5 to 2 favourites. The money was down there. Very nice.
Good for you. And you can get those by going to poachracing.co.uk before I go.
Get yourself a subscription package. Go for it.
Yep. Cheap as chips, as they say. It's not expensive at all. Have some fun. Right, on that note, I'm looking out the window, hoping it's not going to rain. Fingers crossed, if you're going to Epsom, I've got a few friends who are going there. Have a good time if you're going. If you're not, watch it on the TV and have a good time doing that instead. Hopefully we've pointed you in the direction of a winner or two. No promises. Some weeks we do really well. Some weeks we don't do quite so well. But we always try our best. And we do it with a smile on our face.
With a big smile.
So, right. Have a good one in that case, everybody. Take care. I think so.
Is that a wrap?
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Okay. We'll see you next week.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
See you next week. Ta-da. Bye-bye.